1380Z. Conklin and Company with 1380Z Action News anchor Lee Conklin. First with what's happening behind the headlines. And Take 3, our panel of political analysts.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome into another edition of Conklin and Company. Coming up on the program on this Sunday, here comes the health care deadline. Just a couple of weeks away. U.S. Senator from Ohio, Sherrod Brown, in town to talk about that, and we caught up with him, our Sean Haggerty, with the senator a little bit later, talking about the troublesome rollout and where we are just 2 weeks away from the deadline to have health insurance. Also fit to be tied, but in this case, it appears it was a good thing. Northview's incredible ride to the state co-championship of hockey. Their game with St. Ignatius, 7 overtimes and a 1-1 tie. Northview's athletic director here to talk about that. A really incredible hockey game and what has happened since that time. But first, closure of a historic bridge. Years in the making, and it's going to take almost 2 years to get it fixed. The closure of the Anthony Wayner High-Level Bridge here in Toledo. Here to talk about that, the Director of Region 2, Ohio Department of Transportation, Todd Audette. Great to see you, Todd.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in. And as we speak here on Sunday, we're a day away now from the official closure of the Anthony Wayne Bridge. How long has the process been in the making and in coming to realize, yeah, you're going to have to close this down?
Actually, we started in 2009. Through our annual bridge inspection program, we started putting this program together and got to a point where we decided that it's time to do another major rehabilitation on this structure.
And let's take a look at some images. And what was the inspection process going into it ahead of time?
Oh yeah, there's an in-depth inspection process. You can see they're inspecting the vertical cables there and connection points to ensure that everything is proper. This is fed into the design.
Next image here, there's a man here, and what is he doing with this process here? What's he on?
He's actually inspecting those plates to ensure that the structural steel still has its integrity, to find out if that has to be replaced.
That's some perilous work there, at least it appears to be.
Oh yeah.
Not just anybody's going to get up there and do that, and I don't know if the same gentleman here, but
yeah, he's inspecting a connection point there on the main cable.
Okay, price here, $30 million, the initial price going in?
Right, that covers the entire scope of the repair on this project. And again, this is going to go for 19 months. It'll open again in September of 2015. Then shortly after that, we're going to come back and paint the bridge. So the pain won't end, but at least it'll be open to traffic when we do that.
Yeah, 570 days, an extended time for people to have to find another way.
Right.
And you've had public hearings on this and talked about detours. How has the public received this, especially on the east side of the river, where folks have to get across to this side to go to work or what have you, or vice versa, where thousands of people go the other way?
Right. The detour route, when we had the public meeting, it was generally accepted, the project. Everybody realizes that this is a very old structure. It's 80-some years old, and that it has to have the major work done. So, the concern about the detour was mostly in the ability of public safety to respond for law enforcement and fire. And we've been working with the city for years, close cooperation, making sure they understood the schedule. So I think we've addressed that concern, but there's certainly going to be an impact for people getting around Toledo. But as we see with these types of projects, after we set up the detour, people will adapt to the driving patterns and they'll find their own way. Yeah. But there's going to be some disruption.
Yeah, it'll be some short-term pain. Right. 570 days is short-term, yeah. And then the painting process after that. And that's a big job in and of itself too.
Right.
Repainting the bridge. So let's talk about all the work that goes in here. Replace the truss, the spans, rehab the structure, rebuild the sidewalks, the railing, the fence. And this is a complete overhaul almost, right?
It's a very, very in-depth, complete overhaul of the structure.
And in looking at this, you talked about 2009, the planning process began. But you've known for a long time. I mean, it was built in 1931.
Right.
That this day was going to come. And how do you determine, okay, this will happen in 2014? We have to do this. Is it in the name of safety?
Well, of course, there's a point where if you let it go too long, then the cost goes up, or you may have to, do more in-depth type type construction on the project. So you try to balance with the funding that's available and try to get as much work so that way the disruption, we're not going through another massive closure in 5 or 10 years. We want to push it out as far as possible.
All right, and you just got done, not just got done, but I think about the Veterans Glass City Skyway as being new. Still being new. How many years ago were we talking? 07 or 05?
07.
But it's not that new anymore. I mean, it's I guess in the big scheme of things it is, but you go from that, the most expensive project in ODOT's history, to this one, so some significant work not too far from one another.
Right, and they're both signature bridges, so and they're very important to the community. So again, we want to make sure that we establish those crossing points in the river because it's very important for not just the locals but for commerce in this area.
And the Anthony Wayne Bridge, the last of its kind in Ohio?
It's the last on the interstate and state system cable suspension structure in the state of Ohio.
All right, so it really a focus to retain the history.
Right. And again, people identify that structure, both the Veterans Glass City Memorial and the high-level Anthony Wayne Bridge with the city of Toledo, so it's very important to the community.
All right, so then while that project goes on, you have other significant work to do, and we think we're getting past this winter, Todd. Spring arrives this week, but talk about what has gone into the winter of 2014 for the Ohio Department of Transportation and your employees.
Yeah, actually, it's been quite a winter. We all can't wait for it to end. We spent twice our budget. Our crews are getting tired, but they're not worn out. Great men and women. They show up to work every day, and we're still able to clear the snow. We would like it to stay warmer so we can patch the potholes in between. But yeah,
Jay's office is right behind us, so you can just talk to him.
But yeah, budget-wise, we've spent twice our annual budget for salt, and we've also used the tonnage across the state, about 1 million tons, about twice what we would normally use for a winter.
We know that in stores there's a shortage of salt to put down in your driveway and your sidewalk. What about the Ohio Department of Transportation? We've heard about jurisdictions that are running out.
Right,
What about you guys?
and since it's a regional issue, there's competition from the Mississippi River all the way to the East Coast. So it's a supply logistics issue. There's salt in the ground, but they just can't get it out and get it to the market and get it to everybody that needs it. ODOT had contracts set up, and we were well suited going into the winter. We still have enough salt to get us through the winter, and we're trying to work with local communities to ensure that they can keep their roads open as well by helping them out wherever we can.
And once we get past this winter, we think we're almost there. What are the most significant projects besides the Anthony Wayne Bridge closure that people will have to be aware of in and around Toledo?
Well. People are going to be surprised to see the number of orange barrels. We've got about $331 million in new construction for just this year alone before July. All of I-75 from Findlay all the way up to Perrysburg is going to be widened to 3 lanes in each direction. And then we're going to do some work at the 475-23 interchange. That's a $12 million safety improvement. And then we're going to do some reconstruction of pavement in downtown Toledo. All in all, $331 million. Over the next couple of years, we're going to add another $500 million of construction. So it's going to be a very busy time in Northwest Ohio. But in the end, we'll have a transportation system that is what it should be, world class.
Okay, I don't know if we're ever surprised by the number of orange barrels that pop up when summertime arrives.
Yeah, and
we're getting used to it now.
Yeah, and I'm feeling strange saying that. It's a good problem to have, but it's we'll maintain 2 lanes of traffic all the time. We're going to double down on our efforts to make sure that disruptions to people moving through Northwest Ohio are kept at a minimum through our transportation management system.
Okay, so finally, we've talked about the bridge, the summer, the winter. Let's talk about your look here, because this is an interesting look. I've never seen you with the stash going on, but there's some significance to this. What's going on with it?
Yeah, never in my adult life have I had a mustache. This is in honor of Brigadier General Robin Olds. Robin Olds.
There he is.
Yeah, there he is. He was a 3-time ace. He flew the P-38 Lightning and a P-51 Mustang. He had 12 victories in World War II. Then during Vietnam, he came back and got 4 more victories in his F-4 Phantom. He grew the mustache in protest of Air Force doctrine at the time. The Air Force thought that we should take on the enemy with missiles. He was a gun guy from World War II, and in silent protest, he let his mustache grow out of regulation. So General Welsh, the Air Force Chief of Staff, dedicated the month of March to be Mustache March for all the men and women in the Air Force. men are to try to grow mustaches, and the women are to, or the female airmen are to make fun of the men.
Okay. Okay. Well, there you go. There's the tribute. Hence the stash. It looks good on you. Wear it well.
Thank you.
All right, Todd Odette, Ohio Department of Transportation. The Anthony Wayne Bridge closure coming up tomorrow. Be aware of that. And also a big summer of orange barrels. When we get ready, we get rid of all those potholes too. We're repaving those and get her done. Todd, thanks very much.
Right, thanks, Lee.
Come back in just a minute. We're going to talk health care with U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown. Right after this, Conklin and Company continues. Just a moment.